It is 5 minutes after 10, after 9. At 10 o'clock, we have an outside broadcast. We're going to talk Dominica Social Security, DSS, this morning. Certain things that we want to put in perspective. It's the first program for the year 2026. Normally, it's on the third Thursday. We're doing it today on the fourth Thursday. But we welcome you to the DSS program. There are certain things that we want to look at. We want to review 2025, look at the COL form, Certificate of Life forms. I'm sure you know about that if you have been listening and if you're part of the DSS. We want to look at contribution provision changes as well. And we also want to look ahead to 2026. So let us start off the discussion. My guests are in studio, so let me go to them. And as I say, good morning to my guest in Studio 2. Ladies first, good morning, Happy New Year. It's a pleasure to see you, Madam.
Good morning, Yvonne, and Happy New Year to you. It's been a while since we were last here in studio.
Yes, it was like a whole year.
And it's the first time for 2026, so we are happy to be here as usual. So good morning to you and to the listeners of DBS.
Tell us who you are.
My name is Kamasha Lloyd, Marketing and Communications Officer at Dominica Social Security.
Okay, Kamasha Lloyd. Welcome for 2026. We have done this so many times already. And see how quickly 2025, just passed us by. And we are into a new year. But it's a pleasure to have you on, Mr. Augustus Etienne. I saw you in a Dominica Grammar School uniform last week. You were well decked. You were just like resplendent.
Yeah, I was looking like a real Matthias student, right?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. It was fun being there in that,
really
reminiscing on those
the
days,
assignment.
on those years.
Yes. Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you, my dear. Same to you and yours. Thank you. Same. Happy New Year to your staff. Happy New Year to all Dominicans listening. And I want to take the opportunity to big up, as we say, the management and staff at the DSS as we begin this new year for our continuing efforts to educate the public on social security matters.
Definitely, there are some issues that we have to look at. There are some blanks that you'll have to fill as we go along. Yeah. But it's a pleasure to be on this morning. Probably we could start. I know last year when we ended, we were sort of reviewing as well what would have happened in 2025 for the Dominica Social Security. That was the last program we had last year.
Yeah.
So we are into the 22nd day already of January. How are things thus far?
Busy. This year is a very important year for us. Because we are celebrating our 50th anniversary on the 1st of February since the establishment of the institution to provide income protection to citizens of Dominica. And we have a lot of activities that we have in the making. So we're very busy finishing touches on the program because come February 1st, we're going to be marking 50 years of existence of Social Security.
50 years of existence, that's a milestone.
Indeed.
But not just a milestone in terms of the years, in terms of, what you have done in terms of the impact.
Yes, indeed.
Wow, 50 years already. Yeah. So plans are in place, I guess, as you said, for a lot to come. In observance of the significant achievement for the Dominica Social Security when you consider how it started many moons ago. So here you are now and already celebrating 50 years.
Yep.
That, that's an accomplishment, and I must say,
And it's an accomplishment for the country as well because of, as you said, the impact that the institution has had on the socio-economic landscape in Dominica over those 50 years. And that we expect it to continue to do that for another 50, 150, indefinitely, really. Yeah.
And of the 50 years, Augustus Etienne, you have been there for how many years?
You want to know?
It's like someone will do the math quickly and say, okay.
Yes. Over 40 years, almost 40 years.
Yes. Wow. And you would have seen so many
changes, yes.
Yes. The highs and the lows. Dominica Social Security, as you said, it shapes the socio-economic development of the country, the whole thrust of the country. So very important, organ in national development.
Indeed.
I can say already hats off.
Yes, thank you.
Hats off.
Thank
You remember how many years as well the program is on DBS? When it started? No,
Not quite, but I know it's been a while.
oh yes, it's
been a while.
long time. Yes, it's
And I want to say I think it's under the watch of the current director, Mrs. Thomas, Jean-Jacques Thomas, that the Public Education Trust started, because I believe prior to that, Social Security was basically steeped in secrecy. The law is there and you had to do what the law says, and you just basically had to comply. But within the last several years, maybe 20-something years ago,
Green Brown.
yeah, maybe 20-something years ago, we saw the need to educate the public so that it can make our work easier and even improve on the level of voluntary compliance that we'll get from people. So since that time, we've been going on and we're not stopping. We recognize we still need to do more, but we need our people to take an interest in what Social Security is doing and understand how it operates so that they can avail themselves of the protection that we are meant to provide for them.
Commercial Lloyd, I'm sure that you two feel pleased being part of a family like this, being part of an organ that, shapes the socio-economic development of the country, pushing.
Yes, definitely, Ivona. I must say I have seen the benefits of Social Security not only to the insured persons but to Dominica on a whole, and the contribution that the institution has been making to the development of the country. So all in all, Social Security benefits every sector of Dominica, every insured person. So we are there for you from the cradle to the grave, as we like to say. But not only for our insured persons, the country as a whole benefits from Social Security. The level of impact that we have on the economy, and also in terms of our charitable deeds, what we give back to charitable organizations. Just in December, Ivona, we had our annual donation ceremony where we make donations to various charitable organizations in Dominica. So we normally close off our year by giving back to the country and to Dominicans.
And when one understands that the Dominica Social Security is designed to protect the people, its members in the event of certain contingencies, so like sickness and old age and things like that, maternity as well. Help me with some others, unemployment.
Well, not unemployment yet. Disability,
right?
Old age, death.
Yes. Designed to really replace or supplement income.
Yes.
Lost by insured persons.
When those events happen to them.
Yes. Wow. So that's a lot that the Dominica Social Security is doing. Okay.
And this year, Ivona, before you continue, this year our theme for the year is a legacy of protection, securing the future. So we look at the past, a legacy of protection, securing the future. We look at Social Security's existence over the past 50 years, the legacy that we have made, the impact we have had on Dominica and on Dominicans, and that we are there to secure the future for those that are behind, those that are not yet tasting the promise, but they will taste it at some point in their life. So even the unborn child, our generations to come, we have to secure their future as well. And that is why we are celebrating this year as part of our 50th anniversary of our existence under that theme, a legacy of protection, securing the future.
And this theme really encapsulates what the Dominica Social Security stands for.
Indeed.
All right. So 2025, as we said, relatively was a very good year for the Dominica Social Security.
Yes, by and large, thankfully. Mixed results always, but we saw improvements in our areas of income. But while this is happening, our benefits are also increasing. Well, we exist to pay benefits, really, and the bulk of our benefits is taken up by the long-term pension benefits and age pension. In particular, the people who have worked and contributed and attained pensionable age, those persons are accounting for well over almost 90% of our benefit payouts. So for last year, we were able to continue paying our benefits in a timely manner. And I'm speaking here of pension benefits, because once you qualify for a pension, it continues for an extended period of time in the case of age until your death. So once we establish your entitlement at the material time, your benefit continues. We had some challenges in the area of short term at the beginning of the year, because we were transitioning from our IT system, we were transitioning from an old to a new one. And with teething problems that you would encounter, we had some challenges in making timely payments of benefits of short-term sickness and maternity. But we were able to resolve that by the second half of the year. I think by the end of September, we pretty much got everything under control to the extent that we are now almost current with our payments. We're lagging maybe a week and a half behind when they come in by the time we process and pay. So we take pride in paying people their benefits when they need to access those benefits, because that is what we exist to do. But we also need the cooperation of the stakeholders out there to ensure that they do what they have to do so that we can keep our side of the bargain. Because for us to pay short-term benefits, we have to receive information from the employer, and we need to receive those medicals in a timely manner. Sometimes the medicals reach us late, and so until we receive the medicals, we cannot deal with them. And when we receive them, we deal with them in the order in which they are received. So even if you were on sick leave in September last year, and now you're just getting the claim now, and somebody was on sick leave in December, the person who was on sick leave in December, whose claim came in earlier, would get processed before yours, even if your sick leave was earlier. So it's important for the employers to recognize they need to submit those medicals in a timely fashion so that we can treat with them in time, so that the people, the insured persons, may not be disadvantaged by having to wait an extended period of time before they can access their benefits. Because we know at those moments when they are ill or when they are not going to have access to their salaries, they need the benefit most urgently, and that can be a problem for them if we are not able to pay them on time.
And apart from the radio programs, of course, your lines are always open. There's also online information.
Always.
You always have announcements going out, so you don't leave people in the dark. They always know what is happening. Not at all. Would you say, though, that for the past 5 years or so, if you could look at 5 years, that people are more in tune with things DSS?
I think so, generally. But you still find a lot of people who, for whatever reason, are not sufficiently keen on Social Security. For whatever reason. Maybe they figure they're taking their money. They don't understand why. They don't know why they're taking their money. But we're trying to explain to them why they're taking the money so that they can appreciate so, and therefore, but until they get to that point where they can appreciate our role and what it means for them in the long run, there are still some people in this society who still have not yet come around to embrace Social Security for what it really represents. But by and large, I think we enjoy a better public image. People better understand and appreciate what we do, because we are not, we become more transparent, we are more open, trying to educate and inform them. There is nothing really secretive about Social Security. It's just that we will not be able to give third-party information, but if you come to us about your specific situation, we can treat with it. And also, come to us privately. Don't call me on the radio to ask me about your personal situation. I cannot speak to that on the radio. I haven't got information, for one, in front of me, and two, I cannot make that public. So if you have a concern, come to the source. Come to the source. Call the office. Visit the office. We will deal with your particular situation. Do not wait for when I'm on the radio to call me and say, look this, look that. I cannot address that on the radio.
Definitely. Yes, every situation has to be treated on its own merit.
On its own merit, yes, indeed. And to recognize that it is your contribution to Social Security that gives you access to benefits. And everybody who contributes to Social Security will have access to their benefits when they have a need to access the benefit. So that you cannot feel because my colleague here is a sickly person and she's often sick and getting benefit every so often, that the system is unfair to me who am not sick, I'm well and whatever, and I have not seen the value of Social Security. I am making my contributions. When the situation affects me down the road, as it will at some point, I don't know when, how, and to what extent, I too will be able to access my benefit because I'm making my payment. And importantly, I want us to appreciate that one of the fundamental principles on which Social Security operates is solidarity. All of us in this together. So that I mustn't be concerned solely about myself, what is in it for me, what is happening to my money, and not concerned about the other person. All of us contributing to that fund, to that pool, and when we have a need, we are able to access a benefit from the pool.
As we said from the inset, is really a protection.
It is a protection
to members in the event of
when something happens. Somebody defined it as a first means of savings that you can only access when you have a need. You're making savings at the bank or the credit union, and you can go at will and make a withdrawal, and you withdraw, probably until you deplete your funds at the financial institution. With Social Security, yes, you are paying contributions in the form of money, but what we pay back to you at the end of the day is not necessarily limited to what you put in. The important thing is that you make the contributions when you need to, so that when you need to access your benefit, you can access it without any difficulty.
I'm Commercial Lloyd. In your line of duty, do you still have to like explain a lot of like basic things to people? I know you love to impart the information,
Yeah,
but do
well,
you
I
still
don't
get
know
that
what
a
we
lot?
have seen, although I mean we know that some of the public they have a connotation about social security that may be based negative because they do not have the information at hand. But over the past year, at least we have seen our public education. There has been heightened interest by the public in getting the knowledge and information about social security. We have had a number of invitations to the sessions with various groups across the country, employers as well as self-employed persons and students. Well, most times for the students, we are the ones making the connection or approaching the schools to have these sessions with the fifth form students and the college students. But we have seen a number of employers and community organizations actually inviting us to speak to their members and to their staff about social security, because they recognize that people need to have the information, they need to be more knowledgeable and have the correct and factual information about social security, how it benefits them and how they stand to benefit from the program. So we have done a number of sessions in 2025. So far in 2026 we have had a few as well. So we expect there to be quite a number of sessions during the year. And seeing that we are celebrating our 50th anniversary, we will have some outreach sessions to various communities across Dominica just to inform the public about the program.
Let's hear dice. Register with Social Security.
Yep.
Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do melee. Make sure they pay your Social Security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor's pension, secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health, above unpredictable. Don't take risk, you can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with Social Security. I said that. Social Security, it good, you know.
Let's continue to talk Dominica Social Security. Secure yourself, secure your family, and register with the Social Security. Let us move on to another area as it pertains to the COL forms, the Certificate of Life forms. Bring us up to date again with this. Explain the significance of this form and what people should know.
Okay, so for the Certificate of Life forms, we know everybody or all beneficiaries who are in receipt of a pension from Social Security, the regulations require that every year they are to certify their continued eligibility to receive that benefit by providing us or completing what we call a Certificate of Life form. And all the benefits, we have various conditions, various entitlements that would enable you to continue receiving that benefit. And one of the key requirements is the submission of a Certificate of Life form every year from January to March 31st. The deadline is usually March 31st every year. For 2026, Certificate of Life forms would be out in January, and pensioners will be required to update their status by March 31st, 2026. If you do not submit your form by March 31st, your benefit may be suspended until such time that we receive that document, or you update your status with Social Security to say, yes, I am alive and I'm just updating my status so that I can continue to receive my benefits. So what we normally do, we have these forms issued. Pensioners would come to the office to collect these forms, or for those who are in the odd districts receiving the benefits at one of the credit unions, the forms are sent to those credit unions and as well as the Marigot sub-treasury for those in that area, so they could collect the forms there, have it witnessed by the employees, or if they want to go with the form, have it witnessed by someone else in the community who is in good standing. The form states all the persons who are able to witness that form for you. For those pensioners, who are out of state from 2024 we introduce what we call the video calling feature by WhatsApp, whereby these pensioners, would call a WhatsApp number by video call with a valid form of ID to update their status. Again, pensioners who are out of state can do that, because before, what they would have to do, they would have to get this form, have it printed, have it notarized, and sent back to the office. We know there's an added cost with notarization, and depending on where they allocate it, it might be difficult for them to get that form notarized. So we simplify the process by enabling a video calling to 767-275-2600. Again, the number is 767-275-2600. The pensioner need to have a valid form of ID available on hand before they call the number, and that valid form of ID would either be their social security card or any other valid pictorial ID that would identify them. They would need to make a WhatsApp video call to the number I just stated, and we would have their status immediately updated. So we are calling on pensioners to start calling in, start updating your status. You have until March 31st to do that. After this period of time, we will suspend all benefits for pensioners who have not submitted the form. But once you go ahead and submit that form, update that status, we will reinstate the benefit to you.
How is this going though thus far? And say for instance, a pensioner residing overseas is sick and may not be able to even go through the process of putting on this video call and all of that because the person is very sick. Would you accept somebody else, an immediate family? How does that work?
The family member will have to find a way to get to where the sick that pensioner is. Maybe use their phone, call us, and let us see the person. See the person, because it is the person that we need. Confirmation that they are alive, because another person acting for that person may be acting for a dead person, and we're paying a dead person for many years because somebody has been impersonating that person. So, and sometimes people jokingly say, "But look, I'm speaking to you. You seen me? I am alive." The regulations require that we have documentary evidence. The form saying that on that day that person was alive, because the person can be alive today and be dead tomorrow. But when they complete the form today, they sign it, a person witness it, they were alive today, and by tomorrow they're dead.
Or even by later in the day.
Later in the day, that it has actually happened. A person went to the doctor in the doctor's office, the doctor signed the COL form for the person, and by the night the person was dead. I had an experience, I signed a form for a person on Sunday, by Tuesday the person was dead. So we need to have the evidence that on a particular day, possibly at a particular time, the person was alive, because that can change in an instant. And
with this scenario you mentioned, Ivona, we have had some pensioners like that who have had their relatives make the call. So the person will call and say, "I'm calling on behalf of my father. Look, he's right here on the bed. He's unable to move or do anything." And then they switch the video to show us the individual and have that person's ID on hand. And with that information, we are able to update the person's status.
Right.
So we have had a number of cases like the scenario you mentioned.
I know you have dealt with this on prior programs, but it's always important that we talk about it again. So just to recap in reference to what we have already said on the certificate of life forms, all these important details. Let's just go over some of them again in terms of the deadline for and all of that.
Okay, so again, the deadline for the submission of the certificate of life forms for all pensioners and beneficiaries who are receiving a Social Security pension is March 31st, 2026. Forms are available both at our office in Roseau, at our office in Portsmouth, at the sub-treasury in Marigot, and credit unions in the odd districts for those persons who are receiving their benefits at those credit unions. So the pensioners can send someone to collect the form for them if they are unable to come in to collect it themselves, or they could visit the office and have their status updated on the spot. They would just need to walk with their ID to identify themselves, and our staff at the office are able to update your status immediately for you. For those who are out of state, you can call us by WhatsApp video call 767-275-2600. Ensure that you have a valid form of ID, such as your Social Security card on hand before you call us on video calls so that we can update your status immediately.
Okay. What would happen to someone who, for some reason, fails to probably return the form within the specified time?
So if we don't hear from you by the deadline date, we presume you to be dead. Because if you are alive, you should have done the form and submit it. So if the form is not returned by the deadline, we presume you are dead, we suspend your benefit. Some time passes and some people, they only realize they have not done it when the benefits stop coming. So they go to their bank account and they notice benefit has not come for a while. Then they call. Most times it is because they failed to submit the life certificate, and then when you inform them, they complete the form and submit it. Then we reinstate the benefit from the time it was stopped. Because the truth is, the benefit like each, for example, is payable until your death. And if you are still alive and you find out you are alive 2 years after the fact, if you're still alive 2 years after the fact, you were alive 2 years ago. So the benefit was still due to you. So we resume the payment of the benefit from the time it was last paid. But to avoid any inconvenience of having your payment suspended, we encourage pensioners to ensure that they complete the form and submit it before the deadline date.
And the deadline is the
31st of March
not
every
later
year.
than that.
Yes.
How can people access forms other than coming to your office?
Okay, the form is also available on our website, www.dss.dm. So if the person, it's easier for them to download and print that form, have it complete here, have someone in the community witness it. The persons who can witness are listed on the form, so they could have that done as well if they prefer to. If it's easier for them, they don't want to make a trip all the way to town to collect the form. Or if they have someone who could collect the form for them, that can be done. The form can be collected at the office, completed, and then returned. If the pensioner chooses to just visit the office and have their status updated, they can also do that. So we have a number of options available for the completion of those forms to make it easier for our pensioners.
What about
That is important. I think it's important because we print what we do. We print the forms for each individual pensioner who's in receipt of the pension at the time, and all their particulars are on their forms. If they're downloading from the website and completing the form themselves, they need to put some key information on the form. Sometimes you just put a name, and the name that they put on the form, we may not know them by that name. So they need to code their social security number. Very importantly, don't leave that out. Because the forms that we print have their name, their social security number, their address, the type of benefit, the claim number, and all of that. So they may not know the claim number often because it's not something that they pay attention to. But at least they need to code their social security number, or preferably collect the form that was printed for them. Now, sometimes if they had not submitted their form for a while and they come, we may have to do a blank form for them, complete a blank one, but we will put the information, the particulars on the form and give it to them to sign. Because we will check the system and we will put their particulars on it, so they will have a form that with their particulars on it. But if they completed it themselves, they need to ensure they put the proper information on so we can identify them properly when we receive the form.
And it's also important to note that if your address has changed, it's important to input the current address on the form. So while you may have a specific address for you on the system and printed on the form, if for any reason your address has changed, there's an area on the form that you could insert and update your current address.
Okay. Any, in reference to like government pensioners, anything different? Is the process the same?
Government pension in what sense?
People who, in terms of the certificate of life form for security, is there any? I just want to find out if there's any difference or if it's just across the board. It's
okay.
Same,
so I think all systems that pay pensions require that level of certification periodically to certify that people are alive, so that you don't want to be paying benefits to dead people. Government had not always done it, but recently they started doing that. So people in receipt of a government pension, they also are required to do a life certificate form. Dominicans who are receiving pensions from the UK, from Canada, from the US, wherever, those systems also require them to complete periodically certification forms. And sometimes they come to us for us to endorse those forms. Because we are a social security institution, we are able to do that, and the foreign institutions will accept our endorsement of those persons.
And while we require those forms to be submitted yearly, there are some jurisdictions that require pensioners to update their status at least twice a year. There are some social security institutions right within the Caribbean. One I can remember is Antigua. You are required to submit your form at least twice a year, while we do it yearly. So this is something that is worldwide. Pensioners have to update their status. to continue receiving their benefits.
All right.
Because our law says at least once a year. Doesn't mean we can't do it more frequently. But I think those systems usually require it more than once a year for persons who live out of state, out of their jurisdiction. Because things can change without you being aware of it for a while. So it's not, I mean, I think there was a time we attempted to do it twice a year, but that proves a little problematic.
But
But
once a year is
at least once a year, at least once a year. As I said, because things can change. Because if you imagine you complete your form today, submit it, and then you die next week, and we don't know don't realize that you pass. We will pay you for the next year until next year when you expect to get your next life certificate, and we don't hear from you because you've updated it already. So what we do, what is important as well, we kind of pay attention to the death announcements, and thankfully we get a periodic listing from the registry of registered deaths. Now, we still need to know, the family still need to inform us that their loved one has passed on when they pass on, because even if we get a report from the registry with a name that sounds like one of our pensioners, we need particulars about that person who has died, date of birth, address, to confirm that it is really that person. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So it's important that you complete your form and that you return your form by the 31st
of March. Yes. Failing which your benefit will be suspended.
And I don't think you want that. So it's a while. I know that the Dominica Social Security has been talking about that. We always hear this on the announcements. We have had discussions on this, and I think people should be well.
That's a lot of them are aware, because before we had even had the forms ready, they were asking. As soon as January hits, they're asking for the form. So, but they are now available, and I mean, we've executed quite a few so far. I was by the secretarial pool yesterday, so a long list of those that came down from Portsmouth. And the office is on it. Every day people come in and do forms. Every day. Yes.
Right. Okay, so you could call us 1-800-327-448-3281, 448-3279. If you have a question, of course, we have guests who can answer you, and we'll walk you through, make you understand, obviously, more. Let us look at another area. So we are in 2026, as it relates to the changes to contribution provisions. What entails so far from the 1st of January?
Okay, so Ivona, every year we put out this notice, changes to contribution provisions. We normally get some backlash from the public. Not again, another increase again, but again we have a duty and a responsibility to remind the public of those changes. These are not new changes, these are changes which have been in effect since 2012, when we sought to get to realize a 5% overall increase in the contribution rate. So that change started in 2012, sorry. So this year we are having an increase, but to the employer portion of the contribution rate. So every year when this rate increases, it alternates between the employee and the employer. So last year we had an increase, and the employee was the one who bore that increase. This year, the increase will be on the employer portion of the contribution. We know that the contribution rate for Social Security, a portion of it is made by the employee, and a portion the employer pays on behalf of the employee. So again, we are reiterating that the increase is only on the portion that the employer is paying on behalf of the employee. So that new rate, last year the rate was 7.75%. Was deducted from the employee, and this year the new rate will be 8%. So last year employers were paying 7.75% of the gross income of employees to Social Security. This year they will be paying 8%. So there's a 0.25% increase on the employer portion.
Let's see if this person wants clarification on something we have already discussed, and let's take this call. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, good day.
Yes, good day. Go
ahead. Good day, caller.
Morning, caller.
Yes, good radio.
Yes, it is.
It is the program with
Social Security.
Oh no.
Okay, all right. So we're discussing Social Security, and we're looking now at the changes to contribution provisions. Just recap again what you just said.
So again, I am saying that the contribution rate payable by employers on behalf of the employees has increased from the 1st of January 2026. The new rate is 8%, so there's a 0.25% increase in that contribution rate. Last year, employers paid 7.75%. For those with redundancy, and those without was 7.50%. This year, the rate has increased to 8%. Self-employed persons as well have to bear that 0.25% increase in their rate. So last year, self-employed persons were paying 13.50%. This year, the new rate is 13.75%. And for voluntary contributors, the rate has increased from 12.15% to 12.40%. So there has been a 0.25% on all the categories of contributors paying Social Security contributions. But importantly, we have to note that the increase is not borne by the employee, but by the employer on behalf of their employees.
Let us go over the old rate and the new rate again. You said
So
7.
the old rate last year for that employers were paying on behalf of their employees was 7.75%. This year, that rate is now 8%, and that is from salaries from the month of January 2026. Those contributions for January 2026 will be due by the 14th of February. So when you are making those contribution payments for January in the month of February, you have to apply that 0.25% increase. So the rate is now 8% for employers paying on behalf of the employees. For self-employed persons, that new rate is 13.75%, an increase again of 0.25% from 13.50% last year. And for the voluntary contributors, the rate has increased from 12.15%. The new rate is now 12.40%.
All right, that's interesting. Contribution.
And it is not a new thing. Ivona, we like to reiterate that it is not a new thing. That rate was legislated back in 2012, and overall it's just a 5% increase in Social Security contributions. What we sought to do, we didn't want the burden to be too heavy on the backs of contributors, and so we decided instead of doing a 5% increase upfront, that we would phase it and have a 0.25% increase annually borne between the employee and the employer. So it's just 5% over a period of 20 years. And we should have it settled in 2031 when that rate would have been
5% over a period of 20 years?
Yes, over a period of 20 years.
5%?
Yes, only 5%. So in 2031, the rate for employees will be 7.50% and employers 8.50%. Total contributions of 16%.
Interesting. And 20 years, 5%. Category of contributor, you explain, you look at the old rate
yes,
versus
old rate and new rate.
And versus the new rates. So remember, 7.5% was last year, but now we're talking 8.0%.
And it's only for the employer portion of the contributions, because last year the employees bore that increase. So this year the employers are bearing that increase.
Okay. So the rate increase has been alternated between the employer and the employee. I want to say that in the initial stages, the employee alone bore that 0.25% increase, because at the time, the employer was paying almost double what the employee was paying. And we sought to bring the rate between the employer and the employee almost on par, save and except for the fact that the employer has to make a contributions of, I think, about 1%, 3.75%, 1% towards employment injury benefits. So that is the difference between the rate that the employer will be paying and what the employee is paying at any given point in time. So now the employee and employer rates are close enough to each other, except that the employer's rate would be 0.75% to 1% higher because of the contributions towards employment injury that the employer alone is making.
And as was said, since 2012, changes take effect on the 1st of January.
So there is a schedule in the regulation that says what the contribution rate will be for each year from 2012 until 2031.
From 2012 until 2051.
And
Yeah.
the schedule is also available on our website, Ivona. So for persons who want to have access to the schedule, they can obtain that from our website as well.
So you have a breakdown in the rates.
Where we have a breakdown of the rates for each year.
Okay.
But we also issue a circular letter to employers. So towards the end of the year, we would give them that letter so they know that from January what rate they have to apply for payment of contributions. And at the back of that letter has the schedule of the rates. So they just have to look at the year,
And the,
2026, and you will go across, you will see the particular, the rates that are applicable to 2026.
So, yeah.
When you move to 27, that is
Yeah.
the same, 2027, the same thing will apply.
Okay. All right, let's go to the telephone. Let's see if this person wants to share something. Hello. Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning to your guests. I have a question.
Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning. Why is it that the employer's contribution is higher than that of the employee when at the end of the day, it is the employee that has all the benefits? I think it is very unfair to an employer. I have no problem as an employer paying a contribution to employees. I think it is very unfair that employers pay a higher rate percentage than the employees when they are the ones benefiting in the end. Thank you.
Your question. Thank you.
You missed what I just said. It is true that the employer is making the contributions for the benefit of the employee. And I said initially, the employer was paying almost twice what the employee was paying. And for the very reason that you cited, because the contributions are being paid for the benefit of the employee, we have sought to bring the employee and the employer rate almost on par, save and except for the fact that the employer will always pay a little more because the employer has to contribute 0.75% towards Social Security to protect the employees against things that can happen to them on the job. So if you look at the employee rate for 2026 is 6.75%, and the employer's rate is 8%. So next year the employer rate will go up to 7%, and the employer will be 8%. So it's like 1.75 to 1% difference because the employer is making that special contribution towards employment injury. So you will find that the employer rate will be like about 75.75 or 1% higher than the employee rate at any given point in time. From 2019, that is how it has been, because the employer is contributing 1% towards employment injury.
Let's go back to the telephone. Good morning.
Yes, sorry, I'm back again. I don't think the gentleman has understood my question.
Go
Like
again.
I said, employers have no problem paying. But why is it that the rate of 8% is higher than the 6.75% or 7% of that of the employee? Why shouldn't it be the opposite, where the employee pays the higher rate and the employer pays the lower rate? Because at the end of the day, it is the employee that benefits everything. The employer has no benefits. So I think it should be the opposite in terms of percentage and not what it stands right now.
So I don't know if you listen to me. I just explained that the employer has to protect the employee against the risk of employment injury on the job. And the employer is making an extra 1% contribution specifically for that purpose. That is why the 8% is a little higher than the 7% that the employee will be paying next year. I said before it used to be the employer used to be paying about twice as much as the employee, but right now it is almost on par, except for the fact that 1% that the employer is contributing towards work injury on the job. That is why the employer rate will remain higher. And yes, the employer has a responsibility to protect the workers because the workers are spending their time, energy. You're paying them their salary, yes, but they're helping you to make profit, to accumulate wealth. So you have a responsibility to protect the employer against things that can happen to them.
So
Yes, sir.
I've not understood what I'm asking. Why isn't it cannot pay
Hello.
Ivona, you have to help me.
employee pays 8%? That is what I'm asking. And that's what I'm stating should be. I don't think you've understood and explained my question. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a blessed
All right.
day.
I was thinking.
The caller wants to know why the rates for the employer is higher than the employee rates. And we are explaining that the reason for that is because there's an additional 1% that the employer is paying on behalf of the employees for work-related injuries on the job. So if the employers were not paying that extra 1%, probably the rate would be around the same.
Yeah.
But because of that extra 1% that they're contributing for employment injury, that is the reason why the rate is higher.
Okay. All right. Let's hear dice again. Let's take a little briefer. Let's hear dice again as we continue.
Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do melee. Make sure they pay your Social Security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor's pension secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health are both unpredictable. Don't take risks. You can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with Social Security. I said that. Social Security. It good, you know.
We're discussing matters pertaining to the Dominica Social Security, matters that pertain to you as well. Let's go to the telephone. Good morning. Hello?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, clearly. Go ahead.
I'm very thankful for the program. As a past government employee, I am asking if the government did not pay all your Social Security benefits and you reach the age of drawing your contributions, what happens to the unpaid balance that you have paid to the government or to the Social Security registered on your paycheck, and it has not been collected by Social Security to benefit the person contribution?
That's the question?
Yes.
Okay. Let guest answer. You want
So-
to stay on the line or you'll just listen?
I am
You'll hang
listening
up
on
and
this
listen.
radio. Put off my phone
Okay.
now.
No, it's up to you if you want to stay, if you want to ask them a further question. But they're going to answer you. So you can decide. Okay?
So the employer, whomever the employer is, deducts a percentage of your salary and matches that with resources from the monies from their own resources to pay on your behalf. When they make those payments, they tell us who they make those payments for, how much salary they got, and how much contribution they're paying for them. We record that against your Social Security number. So you can appreciate that if some payments do not reach us, it will not be reflected on your record. And when we pay your benefit, your benefit is based on what is available on your record. If you get to the age and all of your contributions are not paid, we take steps to try to recover those contributions. But that is why we encourage people to check periodically to ensure that their contributions are being paid, so that if it is not being paid, we can take steps early. If you wait until you get to the age to access your pension, we may write and ask for it, and it may take a while. But what we will do, we will calculate the benefit based on what is there at the time. And if the contributions are paid within a year of the time it was due, then we will continue. We will revise your benefit accordingly. But it's important to check your records early, so that if your payments are not being made on time, we can take steps to recover the amounts that are not paid. And when you apply, the form asks you to identify previous places of employment. You give us the names of the employer and importantly the periods when you were engaged with them, so that when we check your contribution history, if there are any gaps in the contribution history that you said you worked from 1988 up to now, then we should see a record for every year from 1988 up to 2026. But if there is a gap, a year is missing, 1997 not there, and you said you were working with government in 1997, we have to find out why that 97 have nothing reflected there. Maybe you had gone on a course of study and nothing was paid for you then. When we check, you might find out that is the reason. Or you yourself might say, I went to study for between 97 and 2000, so I had no salary, so I had no contributions, those kinds of things. But when you tell us the employers you worked with and the period of which you worked with them, we can see if there are gaps, and if there are gaps, who are the employers responsible for those gaps. And to the extent that we can still access those employers and access those contributions, we would get them and factor them in the calculation of your benefit.
Let me see, the person is still on air. Hello?
Yes, I am still
Oh, you're
there.
still there.
So
Okay.
if they're already working on recovering your benefits and it has not been done and a year is almost past or passing, what happens to that benefit? Because this is a situation that has been happening. The Social Security is working on retrieving the benefit.
Contribution. Social Security pays the benefit. The employer pays contributions. So the employer is paying contributions to Social Security, and Social Security paying benefits to you. You hear me? You understand the difference?
What I am saying, the recovery part that was unpaid, if it has not been settled yet, but it started working on it within a year, because you said within a year they have to try to do the recovery part. So if I almost passed and the process is on, what happens to the person benefit?
And the person, I said we will calculate your benefit on the information we have on hand. If it is not paid, it is not received, it will not be reflected there. And if they subsequently, I'm saying, if they subsequently pay those missing contributions, we will revisit your claim.
So what I am saying, if a year has passed, what happens?
We will revisit your claim when the contributions are paid. And that is why I'm telling you, do not wait until you get there to say your contributions were not paid. Check it early enough so we can get the contribution. By the time you get to 65, or by the time you apply for your pension, that adjustment will already have taken place on your records.
Well, that was being addressed before the age, and it is still being addressed.
So that until that is addressed, then your benefit has to be based on what is on record.
I respect that, but anyway, I will follow up privately.
Okay, yes, you may have to revisit that matter with one of the officials or call the Dominica Social Security. Yes, so it's almost that time. As I said, we have an outside broadcast coming up at 10 o'clock, but we are still discussing the Dominica Social Security as we just mentioned the changes. There are changes that will take effect as of the 1st of January, and we gave the category, the old rate as it relates to the new rate as well. So that's what we are looking at before we end. Any question you have on this, of course, you can always seek clarification. Right, Mr. Etienne and
yes,
Lloyd?
indeed, yes, that's correct.
And while the caller mentions that, Ivona, I want to highlight a very important activity that Social Security will be having as part of our anniversary activities. That will happen on the 6th of February. We are having an open day and health fair. And the caller mentioned a very important point about contributions not being paid by employers. And this is an opportunity for employees to visit the Social Security office to find out whether their contributions are indeed being paid. You can come in to check your status. We are having an open day on the 6th of February from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at our office. You can come in to update your record, to check your status, find out if your contributions are being paid. Give us that information if you know employer has not been paying for you, deducting and not making those contribution payments on your behalf. You can come in to make those reports. You can inquire also about the benefits that you can qualify for from Social Security. Get information about the benefits that we offer. And importantly, we are also giving back to you. We are having a free health fair on that day at our office, where we'll have nurses available on hand to have blood pressure checks done, to have your glucose checked, your body mass index, and also to provide you with nutrition assessments and counseling services, nutrition counseling services. So you can come into the office on the 6th of February from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Come in, find out, update your status, get that information about your records. If you need a statement of your contributions, we can make that available to you. So we're having this open day, and while you are there, take the opportunity to check your health status, check your blood pressure, check your sugar, because we realize that we need a healthy population, not only for Social Security, but for the country. And we're inviting the general public to come into our office on that day from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
That's good. And you can always do that even outside of the 6th of February. Well, not check your health status with the DSS.
Yes,
but you can always update your records and you find out
Yes.
about your contributions if they are being paid or not. Let's take this final caller. Good morning. Okay, we lost that call. We are nearing the end. February 6th, it's the, how you call it
Open
again?
day
Open
and
day.
health fair at
And
Social
health fair.
Security from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So all is invited, the general public, employees, employers, self-employed persons, pensioners, everybody is invited to Social Security on that day.
Oh,
Come
and that's the
check your
ground
status
floor
on
where
the
you
ground
normally
floor
have
of our
this.
office.
Yes,
The
yes.
car park, yeah.
And while you are there, you can update your status, find out about your contribution status, where you at. So if there are missing contributions for you, you don't have to wait until you are the pensionable age to make that report to us. While you're working and contributing, we can have this investigated to recoup those contributions on your behalf.
Final caller quickly. We don't have much time. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, go ahead.
I just want to congratulate the people doing that work right here. Because I don't know how qualified somebody has to be tearing down percentages like that. So while they call in and give them pressure, I want to tell them congratulations that they're that educated. Thank you.
No, they are good. Thank you. That's a nice spin to it. That's a good spin to it.
Thank you, caller. So I mean, it might be difficult for the members of the public to understand what's involved, but I mean, at Social Security, we have a cadre of staff that is seasoned, and we understand how the law operates, and we do everything according to the letters of the law. People mustn't feel, and if they have queries, they can come and we can explain to them, but they mustn't figure it is what they want they have to get. We have to explain to them what is, and sometimes they say certain things are not fair, but I don't know who determines what fairness is. But we do everything according to the letters of the law, and if it is too much for them to understand the intricacies of the calculations, stuff like that, we have the formulas and we do it properly. And we can assure them that they're getting what is rightfully theirs. But they need to understand that there are certain things that need to happen for them to be able to access what is rightfully theirs when they need to. And if certain things are not in place, you can be deprived, you can be denied the full value of your benefit, because if contributions are not paid when they should have been paid, they will not be there to be taken into account to pay your benefit. Because every contribution counts, especially when you qualify for a pension at the end of the day. Every contribution counts. So if all of your contributions are not paid, you may qualify for a benefit, but you might qualify at a lower rate than you should qualify if all of it were paid. And that is why it's important for you to make a habit of checking periodically to ensure that your contributions are being paid. So that if they are not being paid, we can take steps to get it paid early enough, so that by the time you come to access your benefit, you would get the full value of your benefit.
All right. Okay, well, we have to end. Let me thank
So we are thankful for the opportunity as usual, Yvonne, and we will continue the process. And since we're celebrating our 50th anniversary next month, look out for some of the activities. Closer to the time, we'll be announcing what's happening, when, how, where, so people can be aware. But stay interested and make Social Security your business, because at the end of the day, we exist for the protection of our people.
Thanks to the both of you. We'll do it again next month, God willing.
God willing.
And all the
Thank
best.
you, Ivona, as usual.
Thank
All
you.
right. That's how we end the Dominica Social Security program for today. Thank you for listening and contributing.
Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do melee. Make sure they pay your Social Security.